set to burn. At last, the yearly Christmas race was in the clubhouse turn. The cards were in the mail, the gifts were beneath the tree, and the 30 days reprieve till Visa would catch up with me. And though smug satisfaction seemed the order of the day, something still was nagging me and would not go away. A week before, I received a letter from my old great aunt. It read, "Of course, I'll understand completely if you can't, but if you find you have some time, how wonderful if we could have a little chat over a cup of Christmas tea." She had had a mild stroke the year before, which crippled her left side. Though housebound now, my folks had said it hadn't hurt her pride. They said she'd love to see you. What a nice thing it would be if you go and maybe have a cup of Christmas tea. But boy, I did not want to go. Oh, what a bitter pill to see an old relation and how far she'd gone downhill. I remembered her as vigorous, as funny, as bright. I remembered the Christmas Eves when she regaled us half the night. I didn't want to risk all that. I didn't want the pain. I didn't need to be depressed. I didn't need the strain. And what about my brother? Why not him? Why shouldn't he go and visit? She's his aunt too. I thought I had it justified. But then, before I knew, the reasons not to go I so painstakingly had built were cracking wide and crumbling in an acid rain of guilt. I put on my boots, my gloves, and my cap, shame stinging every pore, and armed with squeegee, sand, and map, I went out the front door. I drove in front of the suburbs, to the older part of town. The pastels of the newer homes gave way to gray and brown. I had that disembodied feeling as the car pulled up and stopped behind the wooden house that held the Christmas cup. How I got up to her door, I really couldn't tell. I watched my hand rise up to ring the doorbell. I waited, aided by my nervous rocking to and fro. And just as I was thinking I should turn around and go, I heard the little rattle of the china in the hutch against the wall. The triple beat of the 2 feet and a crutch came down the hall. The clicking of the door latch, the sliding of the bolt, and a little swollen struggle popped it open with a jolt. She stood there pale and tiny, looking fragile like an egg. I forced myself from staring at the brace, which held her leg. And though her thick bifocals seemed to crack and spread her eyes, their milky and refracted depths lit up with a young surprise. Come in, she said the words. She took me by the hand, and all my fears dissolved away, as if by her command. We went inside, and then before I knew how to react, before my eyes, ears, and nose was Christmas past, alive, and intact. The scent of candied oranges, of cinnamon and pine, the antique wooden soldiers in their military line, the porcelain nativity I'd always loved so much, the Dresden and the crystal I'd been told I mustn't touch. My spirit fairly bolted, like a child out of class, and danced among the ornaments of calico and glass. Like magic, I was 6 again, deep in a Christmas spell, steeped in a million memories, like the girl inside knew so well. And here, among the Christmas cards, so lovingly displayed, a special place of honor for those the kids had made. And there beside her rocking chair, at the center of it all, was my great aunt. She stood and said how nice it was I'd come to call. I sat and rattled on about the weather and the flu. She listened very patiently and smiled at me and said, "What's new?" Thoughts and words began to flow. I started making sense. I lost the phony breeziness I use when I get tense. She was still passionately interested in everything I did. She was positive and encouraging, just like when I was a kid. Simple generalities still sent her into fits. She demanded the specifics, the particulars, and the bits. We talked about the limitations that she had to face. We spoke with utter candor and with humor and good grace. Then, defying the reality of crutch and straightened knee, on wings of hospitality, she flew to brew the tea. I sat alone with feelings that I hadn't felt in years. I looked around at Christmas through a thick blur of tears. And the candles and the holly she'd arranged on every shelf, the impossibly good cookies she still somehow baked herself. But these rich tactile memories became quite pale and thin when measured by the Christmas of my great aunt deep within. Her body halved and nearly spent, but my great aunt was full. I saw a Christmas miracle, the triumph of a soul. The triple beat of the 2 feet and the crutch came down the hall. The rattle of the china in the hutch against the wall. She poured 2 cups. She smiled, and she handed one to me. And then we settled back and had our cup of Christmas tea. Merry Christmas.